Hello, YouTube. I'm Dr. Tactical, and the doctor will see you now. Welcome back to the channel. So I have been strolling down memory lane for about almost 3 weeks now since SHOT Show ended, and I had the opportunity to see so much stuff, and I have accumulated just hours and hours of video, and I've been sifting through it trying to see what I want to talk about, what you guys may want to see, and as I'm sifting through it, one of the things I'm noticing are all the incredible guns that I had the opportunity to see there, along with some tremendous finishes on these guns. And that was sort of going through my head as I'm looking through some of my video that I accumulated, and I came across this video that I did. It was actually sort of towards the end of the show. I was walking and I saw a booth that really got my attention. And it got my attention because I'm thinking about all these beautiful guns that I saw at SHOT Show, and I'm thinking about my collection of guns. So this was a booth for ultrasonic cleaning. It was Pro Gun, I think it's called, and I had the opportunity to meet Dan there. Now, I'm not a stranger to ultrasonic cleaners. In my practice, we use ultrasonic cleaners all the time. And when I say we, I mean my staff. So I'm a little bit removed from the actual use of it. But what we do is when instruments are, when we're done with surgical instruments or any instruments that are used on patients that are, reusable, those type of instruments are rinsed off. They're put through an ultrasonic bath. They're moved on to another wash, and then they go into an autoclave. But that ultrasonic bath is really a powerful part of the whole cleaning system, which is interesting because, when with our instruments, my philosophy is either I want them immaculate or thrown away. There is no in between. So I'm happy to put an instrument into an ultrasonic bath, and I don't care if the ultrasonic bath eats it. If it eats it, I'll get another instrument. That's fine. But that's not the case with my firearms. So using an ultrasonic, I totally value the power that an ultrasonic brings to the table, the power and the speed at which it can accomplish the cleaning, and also the thoroughness. So there's a lot of pluses to the ultrasonic baths. The problem is, and I have a couple of them at home, specifically I bought for cleaning guns. And then I was afraid to really use them. I play with them. Every once in a while I'll throw a barrel into one that doesn't have any significant coatings on it, because I'm scared. The truth is I'm scared. I have a really expensive collection. You guys have seen some of it. And they've got DLC coatings. Some have Cerakote. There's, I've got optics. I've got, different types of stocks. And I'm not really sure, or I should say I wasn't really sure before I sat down with Dan, which is a figurative statement. We didn't get to sit. Anyway, I wasn't sure what I could and couldn't put in the ultrasonic bath. I figured stainless steel I'm pretty safe with, but otherwise I was a little concerned because the last thing I wanted was to expedite the breakdown of my firearms. I wanted to, the whole purpose of cleaning them is to keep them beautiful and to keep them clean and to keep them functioning. And I didn't want to do anything that would strip off any coatings or finishes or damage anything. And this was a tremendous opportunity for me. So first of all, I just want to say this is hopefully at least a two-parter. What I hope to do from this is, and it's going to rely heavily on feedback from you guys. If you guys find this interesting and you want to see more, and you let me know, because since I had this sit down with Dan, I have instituted a whole new protocol for my gun cleaning utilizing the ultrasonic bath. And I would love to share it with you guys and sort of walk you through how I do my handguns, how I'm doing my long guns, because it's all different now because I have a better understanding of the safety aspects to the weapons. So if you're interested, you'd like to see that, please comment in the comments section. Also, please subscribe. That helps everybody. Helps really all the gun channels. Any gun channel you come across, hit subscribe. If you want to keep seeing things from us and then hit that bell, ring that bell, and because then you'll be notified when new stuff comes out. But the subscribing just really helps let YouTube know that you're interested in Second Amendment type of firearm related videos. Okay, because YouTube not a fan. Anyway, back to the video. So my hope is that you guys are interested. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Dan talk. I'm going to let him go through his whole spiel, because he really has given this a lot of thought, and he's involved with using ultrasonic baths not just on firearms but on race car parts, on SpaceX. Really, it's used for a myriad of things, but firearms are an important one. So I'm going to let him do his explanation, and then at the end, I'm just going to come back and I'm just going to go through what I consider to be some key points, some highlights that I took away from his explanation. Now, some of the stuff he said I knew, and a lot of it I didn't. So, my highlights may not be your highlights. If there's something you feel I should have gone more into, please, of course, comment on it. Share with others, because this is really the purpose of this video is for education, so that we can take better care of our firearms. All right, so I'll be back with you in just a couple minutes, but I'm going to let, Dan and me walk you through this. Hello, YouTube. I'm Dr. Tactical, and I have Dan here with Pro Gun Cleaning, who's going to talk to us about a very confusing topic for a lot of us, especially those of us with high-end guns, because when it comes to cleaning, we all take that very seriously. And one of the best tools out there is ultrasonic cleaners. And I'm also, as many of you know, in the healthcare field, and I know a lot of you are also. So these transcend just guns. These things are used on a lot of different levels. And I'm going to let Dan sort of discuss what you recommend we should put in there, what we shouldn't, and really the proper way to do it.
Exactly. It's a great tool, but we need to use the right chemistry, we need the right temperature, and the right times to make sure that we don't overdo it, that we take care of the cleaning, but we don't do anything to the part itself. So with Pro Gun Cleaning, we have a special non-hazardous chemistry that we use in our cleaning cycle that is safe on all metals, it's safe on the polymers, it won't hurt any of your coatings, anything else that might be on there. In fact, we use this a lot in the manufacturing process before Cerakote, because we get the part so clean that now we can go into Cerakote, put that coating on. Once it's on, we won't hurt that coating because of the chemistry, and our cleaning times are very quick. 2 to 5 minutes, I can clean a part and I can move on to lube or whatever the next process is. And all of our machines have timers on them, digital timers, to prevent any sort of extended times or things that we might clean it too well. So that's important. We also use heat with ultrasound. Ultrasonics likes a little bit of heat to help form those cavitation bubbles that really do the work. In ultrasound, what we're doing is we're pulling apart that water molecule, creating a bubble with lots of energy. That water wants to come back together really bad. So when it hits a hard surface, instead of that bubble exploding, it collapses and it creates a vacuum on the surface. So when I put a part in here, I don't need to worry about hurting the surface because I'm actually vacuuming the surface. But with lots of energy, lots of power.
Never thought about it that way.
So we do a lot in the race industry. We take care of SpaceX, we take care of Delta R, things like that in our other divisions for that reason, because they require precision cleaning, but they don't want to hurt the specification of whatever they're putting in there. So 25 years ago when we started this process, we worked with the industrial sector, the medical devices, things like that. And we brought that same technology and that same know-how into the gun cleaning industry. So that's what we've done. I want to show you the power of ultrasound here real quick. Okay, so here we have one of our typical gun cleaning units. Has 3 stages. I can do wash, I can do lube, I can do suppressors. But I want you to watch what it does to this bowl. If Herbie can zoom in on that a little bit. we're actually going through the sidewall, coming inside, creating another ultrasound, and going back out. So with enough power, which we do at Pro Gun Cleaning, have a lot of power in our machines. So imagine a blind hole or a crack or a crevice that we can't get to, maybe a suppressor with a tube on the outside. How do we get in and clean those baffles? Well, we'll go right through the sidewall, create an ultrasound inside, and come back out. So we can do cleaning to the level that, no matter how much handwork we put into this, we can never get a cleaner part than we do with ultrasound. One other thing I want to show you here, and again, it's not a gun part. I'm not allowed to bring gun parts here. But people always ask me, is it safe on all different materials and so forth? I just have a little carburetor here. To the general public, it looks pretty clean. But to a gun guy, or to a SpaceX, or to a medical device, or a medical professional like Kirby is, it's not clean. And let me show you.
Wow.
You can see how ultrasound takes it to the next level. We're getting in all those hidden areas. We're even going through what's called that butterfly valve right there, interior to this little carburetor. I'll pull it out here in a minute and show you what we've done, but it's a good example of different materials. It doesn't hurt plastic, it doesn't hurt rubber, we've got brass, we've got stainless here, all the things that you would encounter in the gun industry or other industries. And we're pretty much done. Very quick clean. But let's take a look at some of the precision we've done, even in the blind holes. Again, that little butterfly. If we move that butterfly, you can see we're pristine clean even underneath because of that cavitation effect. We sent that energy right through that metal, inside, cleaned it, and came back out. That's something we just can't do by hand or by soaking or other means. And that's the real beauty of ultrasound, is the microscopic bubbles. The chemistry is important because we don't want to hurt any coatings and so forth. The heat is important. But the real workhorse here is those little bubbles that the sound waves produce.
Okay.
Again, our chemistry is all non-hazardous, environmentally safe, and safe for materials.
So let me ask you a question. I thought I took a picture. All right. From the standard gun, what parts would you put in there? What parts would you not put in there?
Okay. Again, the only two things that ultrasound shouldn't be used for is wood.
Okay.
So if we have a revolver with wood handles or a nice rifle, the stock, or optics.
Right.
And the reason with optics is going back to our workhorse. This is the microscopic bubbles.
Right.
Even those optics are sealed, it doesn't matter. We're going to find a microscopic way to get in there. So a lot of guys with optics either remove them or fixture them to where they're above the water.
Now, we saw with that bowl that through the bowl we're getting that vibration effect.
Right.
Is that going to have any deleterious effect on the optic itself?
No,
So
not a bit. So
Okay.
a lot of guys with a nice rifle, they don't want to, reset the optics or anything. They can actually take the barrel or the assembly and put it down into the water, leaving the optics out. So they'll set up a little frame to just clean what
So
they need
it
to.
will
Yeah.
vibrate the optic, but it's not going to have any negative
But
effect.
it's really not vibration. It's that implosion at a microscopic level.
Right.
People are always worried, well, we've got metal to metal here. Am I going to scratch the part? No, we never will. When I put a part in there, it stays. We're not moving the part at all. It's those bubbles that are coming in very microscopically and hitting it thousands of times everywhere.
So let's talk about another aspect that I know concerns a lot of people, because it does such a good job of getting in the channels where the firing pin is and areas. I mean, it's cleaning everything out solidly.
Right.
Now, two questions. One, can you leave the firing pin area together, hooked up? Like say you took an upper off and you've got the firing channel. Can you just put the whole thing in, or should you disassemble it completely?
That's a real personal choice.
Okay.
Those of us that are OCD are probably going to tear it down just to
understand.
allow more access and a quicker clean time. Again, if those parts are easily available to those bubbles, they're going to hit it quickly. We're going to get it out of there quickly. So it just depends on what their purpose is. Is it a quick cleaning and inspection, which a lot of our customers do commercially?
Right.
Then they might want to leave the assembly together, put it in, then they can inspect it. If they need to tear it down further for gunsmithing or whatever, then they can do that. But another aspect going back to that, and that's with the chemistry. We need to have a corrosion inhibitor built in there, because when these come out, they're pristine clean. So if we have any steel in a normal chemistry, you'd get flash rust or corrosion, or while you're working on it. And also it's important with chemistry to make sure it's a splitter, which means we bring all the greases and oils to the top. So we can manage that, we can skim them off. The worst thing we could do is put in a nice gun, develop a lot of oils on top. We're going to skim this before we take it out. If we didn't, we're just redepositing what we just took off.
Now, how do you skim it?
We have a special absorbent pad that's oil only, very inexpensive, reusable. So we either just set that pad in there, or we just run it across and it picks up the oil without picking up the water or the soap. The other thing that ultrasound needs to maintain that high performance is getting rid of particles.
Right.
Imagine we've got the part in there and there's all this interference with little particles that we've taken off. Those bubbles are going to waste their energy hitting those particles and releasing their energy before it gets to the part. So if we can keep this, the cleaner we can keep this, the better it's going to perform. So there's low-tech ways to do that, maybe even just using a coffee filter on the drain here,
right,
to periodically pull out the particles and then put your soap back in.
Oh,
we have standalone filtration units that'll take it down to 5 microns, which is invisible.
Right.
So there's lots of ways to a little maintenance goes a long ways with an ultrasound.
So here's the next question, because this does such a good job of just bringing it down to the pair gun. Obviously, rust is one of our big concerns, and we want this stuff lubed ASAP. Mm-hmm. What kind of time frame do we have to lube it? And I see you've got your lube here. Is that something you put in another unit to get it into, or?
That's the ideal situation. That's why we make multiple tanks, or with kind of the concept of this bowl, making another ultrasound.
Oh,
let's say
right.
if we only have one tank, we can always add some lube to a bowl, and those essential components like the bolt carrier group and those things that need to be lubed, we could actually put this in here with lube and now use ultrasound. Imagine the beauty of that is we're taking those microscopic bubbles, they grab the oil and they massage them into the pores
right.
of the metal. It's not like wiping it off with oil, which is just kind of a surface, we hope it works.
Right.
This is more of a lube and a preservative. If you're a collector, or you've got, you don't shoot your guns often, or it's a special gun, and it's going to be sitting in a safe or on display for months or maybe even years, it preserves that metal because we've massaged that lube into it. So there's no access for oxygen to create rust or corrosion.
So back to speaking of the lube, now do they? We all have our favorite lubes.
Yeah.
For guns.
Yeah.
So when we're using our gun lube, we need that because it can handle certain temperatures that a lot of lubes can't. We're going to generate those,
yes.
Especially when you were talking about putting. Not that you have parts that rub, but when you take a suppressor, you mentioned putting it in there. Mm-hmm. I mean, having a bone dry, a perfectly clean suppressor will probably rust in any type of humidity. So you still want to get some type of lube on
exactly.
that. What can we use? Any lube we want in a machine like this, or do we have to use special lubes?
There's special ones out there. I mean, we make a Z-Max, who is known for their lubrication in the racing industry, which we do a lot in the racing industry. We take care of a lot of race teams, but they developed a lube for us that works wonderful in ultrasound, works wonderful at the temperatures that we run here, which is usually about 120 to 140 degrees. And again, it has that preservative quality to it. So, again, the beauty of a multiple tank system, or even using a solid pan basket or whatever, is, we don't need to replace this lube. We just need to add to it. Because by the time we get to lubing, it's pristine clean.
Right.
This will always stay clean because we've already cleaned it. But yeah, so I mean, that's
So if you want to
the lube.
use your favorite lube, you want to
You can
use
try it.
your gun butter,
Yeah.
now I'm dropping names.
Yeah.
Frog lube,
Right.
or whatever. You can put it in a bowl
Absolutely.
and it'll work.
And most of those will work with ultrasound. Ultrasound's pretty forgiving. It's pretty generic at what it likes to cavitate. And as long as we can form those microscopic bubbles, it's a carrier. It's going to hook onto whatever oil you love, and it's going to put it into the pores that we can't even get to. We can't even think about getting to it. You're in the healthcare industry. Even your instruments and stuff. They have to be clean.
I was going to comment on that because I'm looking at the quality of these tanks. And we have medical grade ultrasonics that we tear through. We've had all different kinds. This is my office professionally. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of toys out there, and they'll, you may feel like you're doing something, but the heat is a big component, and the number of transducers. I mean, these things make a big difference when it comes to ultrasound. So you want to get a quality unit. And by the way, I'm just going to mention, if you use my code, which you guys know what that stands for.
Who the fuck's Dr. Tactical? Who the fuck is Dr. Tactical?
There will be a discount of some sort.
Now I know what it stands for too.
For Pro Gun Cleaning.
So if you do contact us, just make sure you use that code because we want to give credit where credit is deserved.
Thank you.
But back to that point about different manufacturers. I mean, there's a million out there.
Right.
And it's all about power. They might look the same on the outside. It's kind of like a car because we do a lot in racing. You might see a Mustang that looks the same as this Mustang next door, but this one might have a little cheap 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder unit versus a V8 that's supercharged. And that's what counts. Ultrasound is all about power because we want to clean quickly. We don't want to let that part in here for 15 minutes. I've had guys tell me, I leave it in there for 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. No. That's where you're going to create damage.
And that's also the beauty of it is it's quick.
It's supposed to be quick.
Right.
But you got to have enough power. So you got to have like a supercharged V8, which is what we have. So you do lots of small batches quickly.
Right.
You don't, again, especially if you're in a commercial situation or, and collectors too.
Right.
We don't want to damage the engravings, the coatings, because it's an antique gun. I mean, it's not like we're going to repair that. It is what it is.
So you're saying now Cerakote, it's not going to get underneath of and pull off. It's not, DLC, all those. So those of you who are worried about the extra you spent on your gun's coating, you're still protected as long as it's on a metallic surface. What about polymers?
Polymers is fine.
Okay. So you can throw your whole damn Glock in the thing. Who cares? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or you just throw that thing away. I don't know.
But it's a time thing. Keep the times down to 2 to 5 minutes.
Right.
And you have to purposely want to abuse your gun to hurt it in a pro gun cleaning unit.
And I know a lot of people out there have units and aren't sure how to use them. A lot of you have thought about it, but you're afraid of doing damage. And it's been a concern of mine too, I have to say, because a lot of my guns have some really nice coatings on them, and my mind's a little put at ease right now. I'm going to start using it more. I use the term particular. It's a lot better than anal, but they mean the same thing. I really, but hey, we care. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be watching this challenge. You certainly wouldn't be watching this particular episode. So I want to thank you very much, Dan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for stopping by.
Absolutely.
I love the Dr. Tactical, and I love your secret code. So, hey, you can look at us at ProGunCleaning.com, or our mother company is Pro Ultrasonics. Just remember Pro.
So those of you who are watching this who are gun guys, but also I know there's a lot of doctors who watch this channel, he does medical office stuff as well. So that's what he's saying.
Yeah, either way, just Pro.
Or if you drive a race car, he does a lot of race car work also.
We do. You probably have some cool cars in your garage anyway. So
thank you again.
Thanks,
I really
Herbie.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so a lot of information there. And again, I still have some questions at this point. which I will answer when I do a demo of how I put everything, together, how I work it. But I would say the big take-home points for me were no wooden stocks, which I would extrapolate to also mean no no laminates either. Now, as far as the optics go, I have to say I had in the past when I had put a handgun or a long gun that had an optic on it into the ultrasonic bath, I had removed the optic, which sucks because, as you guys know, every time you take an optic off, now you've got you got to re-zero it. Well, according to Dan, and I feel a lot more comfortable with this, as long as you don't submerge it, the vibrations. See, I was concerned the vibrations would actually affect zero, or potentially affect the electrical circuitry in the with the frequency, affect the circuitry in the battery-powered optics. And apparently, don't have to worry about that. The key is, though, not to submerge them. So you can suspend your upper, whether it's a handgun or a long gun, and just keep that optic above the solution, and you should be just fine. That's a game changer because really you hate taking an optic off. So that made a big difference to me. So, I mean, overall, the fact that I now feel comfortable putting in my DLC-coded staccatos, or putting in a, or DLC, what do you call it, Wilson Combats. I mean, any gun, pretty much any coating, Cerakote, as long as it's sealed and done, really should be protected. Polymer grips, c'est la vie, put them in. He had made a comment about being particular and or OCD, and really breaking everything down to the finest level and then putting it into the bath. I think one of the, and this is kind of a spoiler alert for what I'm going to be showing in the next video. I think one of the big benefits is not having to take stuff apart. The fact that the ultrasonic can get in there and can get to things. But I alluded to this in one of my questions with him, and this is really an important part. It's not so much the cleaning, but the lubing. Because remember, once you strip this gun off, it is bare as a baby's butt the day it's born, because you've stripped off everything, all the dirt, all the oil, everything. So this is exposed metal, and you want to dry it, but it wants to rust at that point. Now, granted, you have coatings on a lot of it, but even so, and this goes for the firing pin channels and everything too, all these little nooks and crannies. You want to get this stuff protected. And we'll talk about that then. But anyway, so no wood. Optics are good to go. Pretty much anything but wood is okay to put into the ultrasonic cleaner. And those are sort of my big ones. All right, guys, thank you for listening to me. I'm Dr. Tactical. Don't forget to comment in the comment section, and please don't forget to subscribe. Dr. Tactical, out.